Call meeting to order. Let the record show all board members are present. To have a motion to approve the agenda. All those in favor say aye. Aye. First thing on the agenda, conduct a public hearing on the proposed 26-27 budget. Butcher.
Dr. Starcher, board members, President Ford. As stated, I'm here to present the FY26-27 budget. This is a public hearing. The budget has been out for public viewing since May the 15th, and we have received no comments regarding the FY27 budget. I won't go into a lot of detail on the actual budget document, but you do have a handout in front of you. The statistical summary, I'll go through it, and then I'll go over my notes regarding the FY27 budget. On page 1 of the statistical summary, in terms of revenues for FY27, local revenues are projected to be $56.5 million or 25.5% of the total budgeted revenues. State revenues, $104.3 million or 47.13%. Federal revenues, $18.6 million or 8.43%. Miscellaneous revenues, $26 million or 11.75%. And the unreserved fund balance, $15.9 million or 7.19%. Note that Fund 41, the $9.4 million in Fund 41, then we another $14.1 in Fund 51. Those are required budgeted projects. Those are projects that are over 3% and required by WVDE to be reported. Those funds have already been set aside. So the real budget need for FY27 is $6.5 million. In terms of expenditures, direct instructional expenditures, $73.1 million is instructional services, or 33.06%. Special education expenditures, $19.6 million, or 8.85%. Support service for students, $9.6 million, or 4.32%. Instructional staff, $5.5 million, or 2.5%. School administration, $7.5 million, or 3.4%. Operation and management of the plant, $18.8 million, or 8.51%. Student transportation, $14.3 million, or 6.49%. Child nutrition, $9.6 million, or 4.35%. Building improvements, $16.9 million, or 7.68%. Of a total expenditures of $221.3 million, of which $171.4 million is general current fund, $9.4 million or 4.25% is permanent improvement fund, $14.1 million or 6.37% is a capital projects fund, and $26.3 million is, or 11.93%, is special revenue fund. On page 2, breaks the budget down by major expenditure area. Salaries at the top make up about 43.06% of the budget. Fixed costs, 20.26%. So total salaries and fixed costs are $140.6 million, or 63.52% of total budgeted costs for FY27. And that's down. You're used to seeing 80%, but that's diluted by the construction projects. That's what's bringing that average down. Major expenditure areas other than salaries and fixed costs, repairs and maintenance is $2.5 million, or 1.15%. Construction service, $17 million, 7.71%. Interagency purchase services, $2.8 million, or 1.28%. Supplies, $3.9 million, or 1.75%. Utilities, $4.3 million, or 1.94%. Child nutrition, $4.1 million, or 1.87%. And vehicle supplies of $2.6 million, or 1.15%. In terms of budget highlights for FY27, overall local revenues are projected, and this is just my notes, so you don't have a handout on this. Local revenues are projected to increase by 4.9 million, and that's due mainly to an increase in tax collections, an increase in assessed valuations, and also an increase in earnings on investments or interest. State revenues projected to increase 2.9 million, and this is due mainly to an increase in SBA-related funding on building projects of 4.7 million, an increase in state aid, PEI, and retirement of net 310,000 due to the 3% legislative pay raise and PEI increase of 3%, but that's offset by a decline in state aid due to enrollment declines. On behalf payments for retirement decreased 2.4 million. There are increases in teacher induction funding of 344,000, increase in ACE funding of 160,000. In addition, FY27 is the first year to see a net decrease in charter school allocations of $73,000, which, you know, when we invested in the virtual for the secondary, that's leading to a little bit of a change there. And as mentioned, for FY27, there's 3% pay raise and a 3% increase in employer PEI premiums. Raleigh County Schools did experience a net enrollment decline of 204 students for FY26, and enrollment continues to be challenging in light of population shifts and recent legislation regarding charter schools and Hope Scholarship. Since FY15, student enrollment has declined by over 2,300 students, and charter schools is projected to reduce state aid next year by 1.38 million, and that's for 166 students, and that's down from 183 students, or 1.4 million for FY26. In addition, the reductions due to Hope Scholarship funding are not yet available, and they're not in these projections. Federal grant revenues will stay at the current levels of 18.6 million in FY27. Raleigh County Schools adopted the countywide Community Eligibility Provision, or CEP, for FY25. And since 2015, RCS had been at the full CEP only at the elementary level. Child nutrition reimbursements are expected to increase by approximately 366,000, based mainly on increased participation rates of 1.9%, as well as an increase in federal reimbursement rates. For FY27, however, Raleigh County Schools is anticipating an overall participation decrease, as well as an increase in food costs. Now, that decrease, FY25 is the first year of CEP, and so we'll start seeing a little bit of a decline as some of those students, you know, won't eat. So, but anyway, that's expected to increase the county contribution to 2.1 million. We do take full advantage of the donated food program from the USDA, which helps offset those rising food costs to an extent. And that's up from about 1.7 million projected for this year. So Medicaid revenues are expected to remain flat for FY27 or decline. FY22, since FY22, the county has seen a decrease of over 28% in Medicaid revenues. In FY22, Medicaid revenues accounted for 1.3 million. In FY26, the county received 906,000, and this budget projects a conservative 650,000 for FY27. The amount of carryover necessary to fund operations for FY27 will increase to 6.5 million, and that's up from 4.5 million from FY26. And that's due mainly to increases in over-formula position costs, and that's partially offset by increase in tax collections, is why you're not seeing the complete impact of those cuts. This budget assumes completing construction on the Park Middle School renovation project, which is utilizing county capital project reserves and MIP school funding authority from the school building authority, as well as phase 2 of Park Middle School, which is a demo of the old gym, retention wall, drainage upgrades, and additional parking. All funding for this project has been set aside, and no additional funding is requested in the FY27 budget. Other major construction projects in FY27 includes a projected 30% completion of Woodrow Wilson High School renovations. The Woodrow Wilson High School renovation is projected to be $27.5 million project. RCS has received $12 million from the SBA and an additional $15.5 million of county carryover funding that has already been set aside for this project. In addition, the HVAC and control systems replacement will be completed at ACT. This project is expected to cost over $4.5 million. Raleigh County Schools has received a major improvement project award of $500,000 to help offset the overall cost of this project. Carryover funding of $4 million has already been set aside. The Woodrow Wilson High School and ACT projects are reflected in the FY27 budget only to the extent that they are 3% projects that are required to be shown for the progress in FY27. Other major renovation projects are expected to consist of elevator replacements at ACT and Office of Special Programs, fuel tank relocation at Independence Middle, that's a replacement of the Coal City fuel tank, roof replacements at Independence High School, a track replacement at Shady Spring High School, as well as an auditorium seating and carpeting project at Park Middle School. Raleigh County will also have playgrounds ongoing at several locations in FY27. This budget also continues student and safety enhancement funding that was put in place in FY26. Salaries and fixed costs make up 64% of total expenditures. For FY27, budgeted salaries and fixed charges are expected to increase by over $1.2 million. This increase is due to a 3% legislative pay raise and a 3% increase in PEIE premium costs. Professional staffing over formula positions are projected to decrease from 80.42 positions to 55.8 positions, a reduction of 24.62 overall professional positions. Service personnel over formula positions are expected to increase from 81.6 positions to 122.91 positions, an increase of 41.31 positions for FY27. The service over formula position calculations include an anticipated 183 student enrollment decline, and the overall projected cost of over formula positions is projected to be $9.3 million. Areas of concern, continued reductions in enrollment are causing year-over-year declines in state aid, and continued enrollment declines will result in cost reductions that could affect major programs. Continued enrollment declines are causing decreases in positions allotted to counties through the state aid formula, which will cause significant increases in operating costs or result in additional workforce reductions. Declining student participation or flat participation in a child nutrition program will cause increases in the amount of county contributions required to fund the program. Inflationary pressures continue to impact overall costs. Board of Risk liability insurance rates for FY27 are expected to increase by approximately $650,000. This is a 56% increase over FY23 premiums. In addition, water and disposal costs are expected to be $528,000 for FY27. Water and disposal costs were $380,000 in FY22. This is a 39% increase overall. Utilities, natural gas, propane, electricity was $3.7 million in FY27 and are anticipated to be $4.3 million in FY23, $3.7 million, and projected to be $4.3 million in FY27. That's a 17% increase. The impacts related to charter schools and Hope Scholarship programs are causing year-over-year reductions in state aid, and when coupled with declining enrollment and inflationary cost pressures, could significantly impact instructional support, building and maintenance programs. Raleigh County Schools currently provides a comprehensive virtual program at the secondary level and may provide offerings at the elementary level in FY27 in order to provide parents and students an alternative option. No revenues or expenditures have been included in the FY27 budget for an elementary virtual program. If that's anticipated, then we'll, of course, do an analysis of that. Tax collections, state budget adjustments, and increases in operating costs due to market and inflationary pressures could further impact operating results for FY27. Cost escalations could result in delays in the timing and completion of construction projects. Raleigh County Schools is planned for operation fluctuations and is positioned to deal with short-term funding issues. However, inflationary pressures could cause some budgeted items to be removed or pushed out into future fiscal years, and budget requests and actual costs will be monitored closely. Hate to give you the doom and gloom, but it's kind of doom and gloom. Mhm.
You talked on Medicare reimbursement. Is that because the rate date are gone, or reimbursement has gone down, or is that because we are processing fewer claims?
I don't know that we're processing fewer claims. I think it's a result of the reimbursement rates because of the, we have random moment time studies. And as those rates for those responses go down across the state, that impacts all the counties in the state. So I think that that's probably a big part of that.
Because with the growing special ed population, I would have thought we'd have had more claims on Medicare.
Correct. Yeah, you would think the opposite.
Yeah, I
And-
would have thought.
But some of the reimbursement rates are dependent upon every county's time study responses.
To do it.
And so when the state response rate goes down,
Then
all counties get impacted by that at some point, so.
Okay. And the last question was, the 41 additional service personnel, what are you basing that on?
Well, that's based on 183 position decline in enrollment is what I'm basing that. That's why it's going from 80 to 122.
But you're increasing the service personnel because of more aides for where's that?
Oh, no, I think it's a result of the state aid funding decline. Well, as you get enrollment declines, if you don't
Oh, you're saying
cut
41
positions, they go up. So
okay,
we
I see
made,
what you're saying.
I mean,
thought
we
it was
made
41
several cuts
over
this
what
year.
we have now,
Yeah.
but it's not, it is 41 more than we have now, or is it 41 more than what we'd be funded for?
No, it's 41. We're projecting 41 more over the formula than what the state is projecting us to be. And we're doing that based on a continued decline in enrollment.
Okay.
Over the last several years, we've had 200-300 student drops each
Right.
year. So we estimated it takes us to 9,900. It's around 180, 190 students. We're estimating.
Yeah.
And
And
if
we're in
that
the, we're
holds
in the
true,
rears on reimbursement. So actually, what we're going to be dealing with this year is what we had in 2026, not, see what I'm saying? As far as the state, right? Am I right on that? They take your enrollment, then it's next year when you actually get that funding based on that?
Yes. Correct. Yeah. I'm trying to show you worst case
Okay.
on that number.
Oh, it's bad enough. You don't have to. Yeah.
So you can see a $9.3 million cost,
Right.
but because of an increase in tax collections and interest, that's what's offsetting that
Well, you said,
$9.3 million.
I believe, did I get that 8-point-some million dollars?
9.3. 9.3
9.3 what it
million.
was?
Yeah.
that's actually what Uriah Cummings provided us for the staffing that we are over. That the
Well,
state
we're over
showed
right
us.
now, right?
That's what
Well, no, the 9.3 is based on the project. That's
it's based on your projection, but
Correct.
with what Uriah gave us earlier in the year, just with what was projected, it was right around 9 million.
because the professional was higher than, yeah.
Professional too. He was just talking service personnel though, in his thing here. So it's going to be real important that we hold
Well, the service, the true cost of the service is offset somewhat by the decline in the professional positions. So,
right, but if in a perfect world, you'd be in balance on both.
well, I don't know that, I
maybe you
don't know
can't
we
get
could
there on
ever be
service-
in
get there on
balance,
service.
but we certainly should be, in an optimal world, we'd be a lot lower than we are.
Yeah. Well, I've been here when we were 2 or 3 above on each one of them. And we held it there, but then we got a little loose on it. And I know it's not, we didn't have ECATs and all this stuff and special ed and everything else. It does all this to us now. But that's a thing that we'll, have to look at and also address,
Well,
hopefully
the
with legislation.
enrollment declines is what really,
Kills you, I
yeah,
understand.
it multiplies the effects of it. So,
Well, it's one thing when you have an aide for 5 kids, and another thing when you have the same aide for 10 kids.
Or for one kid.
For one kid, for one child, yeah. The one-on-ones really, and basically that's mandated, once they get it, they always keep it.
Well, if you recall, I think it was at our budget work session, I believe, when I just used pre-K as an example.
Right.
And if I'm calculating correctly, we are, based on second month this year, we were 6 teachers over and 17 ECATs over just in pre-K.
Right.
Well, if you take 17 ECATs in one grade, you
Yeah.
can see where the special education
Right.
numbers are really creeping up on us.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
I have
So
a
I got one
question,
question.
Okay.
and it's not directly, maybe indirectly related to what you're reporting on, but it was in the blue book that I went through after the work session. So should I ask that now or close this hearing and
Well,
then
no, if
ask you, or what?
If you have a question, ask it. I don't have a problem.
Oh, okay. Well, it had to do with central office salaries. And I know that in the old days that we calculated directors and so forth based on years experience, degree level, so forth, years experience. We don't do that anymore, okay?
Right.
But in looking at those, there's a lot of inconsistencies. So I don't understand how it's being calculated at all. I even went and looked at the certified list. And I know at some point it's been said to me, well, some of those positions are on the instructional side, some are on the support services side.
Yes, ma'am.
That's not consistent with what's on the certified list. On the certified list, we have 4 positions only that's on the instructional side. But when I look at salary scale, we have several, not a lot, of positions that are not related to instruction that are paid on that level. We have several.
I don't.
And also, we have one director with the same number of days as all other directors that's actually paid almost $2,500 less than assistant directors. I just don't understand all that.
That's a designation between whether you're considered instructional or support services.
That's on support services side.
Yes, and that the director you're asking about specifically is not on the instructional side.
No, but some of those other positions that's on that list aren't either. I don't know. I think you and I just need to have a conversation.
Okay, we
I
can
don't
talk about that.
understand any of that. It just seems very convoluted. There's no consistency to it whatsoever. I sat and looked and looked. I told you, I even went to the certified list and looked and tried to trace positions.
So this
It
has
makes no rhyme nor reason to me.
okay. Well, this hasn't changed since it was implemented. The only changes have been whether there was an increase either by legislative pay raise or by levy pay raise. Those are the only changes that have been made since implementation. There have been no changes in the tiers, if you will, of whether you're support or instructional. There have been no changes other than those I just
So
talked
we're
about.
actually then, am I to assume that we are not reporting positions on the instructional side, but we're paying them on that side?
I don't,
Because that's what it looks like.
well, I don't do the certified list, so I'm not sure. I'd have to see what you're referencing.
Again, there are only 4 positions on the certified list under instruction.
Okay.
Only 4.
Well, I'd
There are
have to
several
look
other
at that.
positions that don't have anything to do with instruction that are paid at that same level. And they're they're reported on the support
Now, if you're
service side.
if you're specifically
And
mentioning,
again,
Well,
I'll
there-
come
there-
talk to you, it makes no sense.
okay, there's a federal program, child nutrition is the only one I can think of.
Because I know that's a split one.
Okay,
and
I'll
that
be
would
glad to
be-
talk to you about it.
And
That's
that would be federal programs, I would say, would be on the instruction side.
correct, and that's why that pay level
Well,
is
I can
indicated
tell
as
you-
such.
I can tell you right now, the 4 that's reported on the instruction side, I looked at it. The elementary
Mm-hmm.
director, the secondary director, the ACT director, and the special ed director. Those are the 4 positions that's reported on the certified list on the instruction side. That's it.
There's an additional director that's paid at that same tier that I'm aware of, and that would be,
Wasn't on the certified list,
it's Director of Human Resources.
Human resources, yeah.
which would have nothing to do with instruction, would it? So why would it be reported on that side?
That's the only other one I'm aware of. And I don't know, that was the tier that it was put in when the rates changed. It hasn't changed since
But
then.
you know what it looks like when there's those inconsistencies? It looks like favoritism.
But there hasn't been any inconsistencies
mean-
in how we're paying people. I mean, it's,
I think that's an important position, but it's not an instruction position. So why would it be paid on that level?
ma'am, I mean, the board elected to do that. I didn't have anything to do with that process.
I didn't do it.
So I believe, Mr. Butcher, correct me if I'm wrong, this happened before I came here, even as assistant
Yes.
superintendent, but I believe, if I'm recalling correctly, I think you have told me in the past that you worked on this with Mr. Brown when he
Yes.
was superintendent.
Mhm.
So this structure, when it goes back to when Mr. Brown was here and that board,
Yes.
I don't know that year that Mr.
2000, I think it was 15, but I'm not.
It can't be 2015. I came in 2015.
Well, Jim Brown was here when he was here. It was in the last year of his
That would have been
contract.
2012.
Yeah. It was effective 15.
And when I
think.
came on as a board member, and I don't know when that was, it was explained to me that we no longer did the system of recognizing experience level, degree level, so forth. Director was a director was a director, okay?
Yes,
And that there
the
were
thought
no
was to be paid for the
There were no
position.
supplements, no degree level, no years experience recognized.
You were paid for the position.
We're away from that. That's not what's happening, if you look at that pay scale.
Ma'am, it has not changed. I promise you, it has not changed.
state raise now, did they before?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, they always did.
This was supposed to be an equity-based pay,
Well,
and
it's
it
in
was
there.
supposed to have been evaluated every 3 years. It has not been evaluated since it was implemented, but it has not changed. The structure hasn't changed, and the only changes to the pay has been either through legislative increases or levy increases. I can promise you that.
Well, when
There
I
have
was
been no
look-
other change.
I'm sorry, when I was looking at it, it looked like we had some directors that weren't making as much as some assistant directors.
There's
I
one in
just-
particular I saw.
So I
just
provided the
don't see
board
the-
with
The
a
fairness in it.
I provided the board with a pay equity analysis last year at the work session. And basically what we did, we took all administrative pay, even at school level, equated it to the same contracts as a central office employee and compared them. I'll be glad to provide that analysis to you again.
Darren, I think I still have that. If I remember correctly, we did look at that and we talked about it. But to the best of my knowledge, and I'd have to go back and look at it again, it gave everyone in the central office a raise. It didn't exactly equalize and work out the inconsistencies. It raised up everyone.
No, ma'am.
Because there were comparisons to other counties and so forth in there.
There was comparison to other counties, and in comparison to other counties, I believe every position in the district showed an underfunded as in comparison with their peers in other counties. Every central office position that I'm aware of. But I'll be
come
glad.
Talk to you.
Okay, I'll be glad to show it to you again if you would like to have a work session or whatever on it.
I'll come talk to you.
Okay.
I just got one question. I should know the answer, but I don't. You've got local, state, and federal. Where's the miscellaneous revenue come from?
So the miscellaneous, the reason you're asking why the number's so high, that 05 you see out to the left of it, 05 indicates it can be intra-fund or inter-fund transfers, and that's why that amounts.
Okay.
It's more transfers.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Anybody else have any questions? Thank you.
All right, thank you.
That's all we have on our agenda. This meeting is adjourned.